Hey, my name is Mike Acosta, the director for BPM Sounds, the all-new online sample library that is coming to you this summer of 2020 from the creators of BPM Supreme. Welcome to the fourth and final video in our Creating a DJ Edit series within Serato Studio. Now, in part one, we created the DJ edit itself. In part two, we created vocal chop sequences that we added in by using existing parts of the original song. In part three, we added in transitional effects. And we also used Serato Studio's built-in effects such as breaker and automation to control the parameters within those effects to further enhance the edit. Now today we're going to take it even further by taking this edit and completely flipping it into a full-on bootleg-style remix. So let's get started.
So the first thing I want to do is change up the drums. So in my library, I have one of our packs from BPM Sounds called Galantic's House that I'll use for some drum samples and loops. Now, of course, I could easily program everything from scratch, but this is just a bootleg remix for me to play out, and most beginners will use loops as it's easy and yields quick results. So let's add a new drum deck, and then drag and drop a few of these drum samples in. Now, Studio does come with a ton of great factory content that you'll be able to use in this same way. Now I'm going to add a new empty scene to program these new drums. I'm going to start with just a simple 2-bar loop. And then once I have the main drums laid down, I'll copy and extend it to 4 bars to add in some extra things. Now here's a cool new feature. You can right-click and then select Fill In and choose the timing to automatically have the notes inputted. This is really great for hats and simple drum programming. Okay, cool, so our drum sequence is now ready. So let's extend this to 4 bars. And now you can see that the sequence has been copied over, and now we can add a few extra things like this vocal chop and orchestral hit. Let's rename this scene to Drums Only. And drop this scene in on bars 1 and 4 in the timeline. We'll need to copy the new drum sequence into the Vox Chop scene as well. And also rename scene 1 as Drums and Vox. And then let's copy it one more time to scene 4, and let's remove the clap and kick from bar 4. And finally, let's roll off some of that low end to about 9 o'clock from the original track, which will allow for the low end from the new drums to pop through a bit more. Now let's take a quick listen. Okay, cool. Seems to be coming together nicely. Now, before we add the additional new loops, we need to re-edit the original song structure down to the main parts that we actually plan to keep. So let's double-click on the original audio track. Now let's duplicate this audio track and make the changes on the new copy. I'll need to add some manual slices using the set slicer mode and do some quick rearranging of parts. Okay, so I've re-edited the structure of the original song down to the sections that we plan to keep. I also shortened the original audio track down to the break section and removed the last bar before the drop. Our new duplicate track is what's used on the drop section after the break. I also rolled off all of the low-end EQ, added the echo effect to slices 1 and 2, and even turned up the high-pass filter a bit to really scoop out the lows on our duplicate audio track of the original song. I'm also going to add our drums and voxing here to the drop section as well. So let's take a listen with the new audio slices of the original song. Now I'm going to add our bassline loop along with a few others from the sample pack here as audio tracks. Once I add in these new loops, I may need to adjust the beat grids on some that may not be a perfect 4-bar loop in order to ensure that our audio loops sync perfectly to our tempo of 126 BPM. To edit a beat grid, simply place your mouse cursor over the main window view here, and you'll see the grid button appear. Click on Grid. You'll now have the ability to adjust the beat grid. You can zoom in by using the plus and minus symbols on your computer keyboard, and then move your mouse over to the top portion of a grid marker to adjust it either to the right or left. Once your beat grid has been set, simply click on the purple Save button to apply the changes and exit the beat grid edit mode. Okay, so now we have all the loops that we're going to use set up as individual audio tracks, and all of their beat grids have been adjusted accordingly to match our tempo here of 126. Now all of our loops are in the key of E minor, which is relative to B minor. This means that it will work with our song, but Serato Studio actually has some great sync features for both tempo and key. So right up here in the top right corner, we could switch our loops to B minor or leave them in E minor. This would be more of a personal choice based on taste and what you think would sound best. So let's solo a few tracks to listen to what I've added in. Here's our sub bass. And now here's our second layer bass, which is more of the mid and high frequency. If I zoom in, you can see the grid lines, and again, if you simply click on the little grid button here to the left, you can now adjust the grid markers to better fit your tempo. I've also added in a lead part, and some brass stabs. And here's an arpeggio that builds up over time with a washout effect. And then I even added a less processed version of the arpeggio in a lower octave here on the last bar before the drop as a fill. Now let's listen to everything with all parts included and see what this sounds like. awesome. I think I'm on the right path for what I want to do with this as a bootleg remix. It's not going to be perfect, but that is exactly what I want, and once I finish the arrangement, I can then proceed to export this. If you want to learn how to export your remix, make sure you watch the first video in this series where I demonstrate how to use Serato Studio's export function, as well as being able to use some of Serato's built-in mastering effects for that final polish.
So this concludes our Creating a DJ Edit series. If you haven't watched the first 3 videos in this series, make sure you go and give those a view. I hope that you found this series useful and maybe discovered a way to step outside the box using Serato Studio. Studio itself has some very powerful features, and I can only imagine of what's to come in the future updates. Remember, there is a free version of Studio that you can grab by simply clicking on one of the links below or heading on over to Serato.com. It gives you just enough functionality to create your own DJ edits, which is really, really cool. Also, make sure you subscribe to our channel down below. And if you haven't already, head on over to bpmsupreme.com/sounds so that you can sign up and register to get 25 free credits when BPM Sounds launches this summer of 2020. My name is Mike Acosta from BPM Sounds. Thanks so much for watching this video series with us, and I will see you in the next video.